You have your fear, which might become reality. And you have Godzilla, which is reality.
I'm sick of Godzilla.
Wake up, everyone!
There are two things you don't know about the Earth. One is me, and the other is Godzilla.
We're safe now. No human being can understand that. The monsters on Monster Island can understand it.
Whether he returns or not, or is never again seen by human eyes, the things he has taught us remain.
Monster Island.
Ladies and gentlemen, have you ever seen the Mysterians? Well, I have, and I'm not sure I'm glad I did. Jay, how you doing, man?
Well, here's me watching Mysterians. No, I hate, like, because I know some people love that movie, and so I know this might be one of those.
Point them out.
Yeah, no, right. So on Instagram, it's and I'm joking, but it's this might be one of those shows where we lose some followers because we're taking this beloved science fiction classic from 1957, and yeah, we might have to say a few critical things about it. But you know what? I'm sure we'll talk about some other stuff as well.
Yeah, I got a couple good. I got a small amount of good things to say about it.
Of course. Same here. But that's not all we're going to talk about, man. We got DesignerCon, or I guess a recap of DesignerCon and lots of other things.
I mean, we got a lot of toys probably to talk about. We got pickups.
Toys.
There's a little bit of news, I think. We talked about Gamera last week, right? We talked about Gamera already, so we don't have to do that.
We don't have to. It's not in our contracts. I'm excited still about Gamera. I still am optimistic that it'll be. I don't think I've changed since the last time we spoke. That do I wish it was a live action film? Of course, but always. Yeah. I'm excited because it's Gamera, and we're gonna get hopefully a new interpretation and something just Gamera. We don't have much Gamera, so I can't be upset.
Yeah, same. I think we said everything we need to say about Gamera last week until we get some more information.
Yeah.
Dude, we'll get right into it. I know other than the Mysterians, I think neither one of us watched anything new as far as Kaiju. There is on Netflix, I think coming out tomorrow, this movie called Trolls about giant trolls. And I don't know. It looks cool. Visually, it looks cool to me.
Not like the DreamWorks trolls with
No, it's a live action. It's live action giant trolls. So
nice.
I'll watch it. Yeah, I don't know much else about it, but it's got giant creatures in it. So I'm in.
And then there's something that we haven't watched yet, but we now will have the opportunity to. That a lot more of the U.S. dates got announced for Shin Ultraman, including that January 10th, 11th, or is it 11th, 12th, where
something
one day's
Fathom
Events is doing it, where one day's the subbed version, one day's the dubbed version.
Yeah, I'd love to see
that's
both.
Kind of cool. Yeah. Me too.
I'll be making a trip to see that because it won't be within hours of me. I know for sure.
Well, I'm actually bummed this weekend. There's a big anime convention here in Fort Worth. And there's a ton of them here because Funimation's based here and stuff. Yeah. But they're doing a special screening on Sunday of Shin Ultraman.
What?
And I'm not going to be able to make it.
I know.
Wow.
You're
there's
fired.
going to be, now I'm going to be really mad because there's going to be people here in this market that have seen it and I haven't. So I'm just not allowed to talk to anybody. But the other thing is I don't know a lot of people here that are probably going to that convention because they haven't advertised the Shin Ultraman thing a ton because most of the people there are more anime versus tokusatsu.
Sure. Yeah.
But I'm sure somebody will see it, and that'll make me very sad that they know more than I do. But you know what? I'm used to it. Everybody knows more than I do about everything. So, except for Yamato Takaru.
That's okay. It's soon. It's December is in a week or two. I don't know what the date is. December's coming up pretty quickly. I don't know how many. Oh, a week? It's tomorrow. December is tomorrow. The rent is due. Okay. Yeah. So I mean, we don't have too long to wait to see. Ultraman. And I'm luckily haven't seen. I've seen a few spoilery images, a couple creatures, but I have no idea what the plot of the movie is, and I'm excited about that.
Yeah, me too. I think we've both done a pretty good job of, I mean, this amount of time, it's hard to stay away from spoilers 100%.
It's a little bit easier when the movie's only out in Japan to stay away from spoilers. It's not like,
but we're in too many Facebook groups. We're too many Facebook groups.
But that's it. Twitter and Facebook definitely shows me any of the spoilery images I've seen has been on Twitter.
Yeah.
But Twitter's, I don't know, imploding. So, who knows if it's even going to be around much longer. But anyway.
Yeah. Spoil it on Hive.
Well, Jay, what do you want to? Do you want to jump into what we got? You want to just get right into it?
Hey, let's start. How about you? You can go first. I think I went first the last couple of times. How about you go first?
I'll go first.
Yeah.
Let's see. Are we saving the one we both got until later, or how do you want to?
Yeah, let's save it till later. Because I think it is. I think it fits better in that segment for an extra little tease here.
Let's move him out of the way
because that's a game changer. That's a game changer one.
It is. All right. Well, then I got two pickups, and it's only two, but they're two big pickups.
Yeah.
Jay, you said you didn't get to watch Toy Anxiety last night, so you haven't seen me show these off. And I don't know how many of our listeners are crossovers from Toy Anxiety to here. If you are, you already know what these are, and you're going to listen to it again. But
and if you're not, go check out Toy Anxiety every Tuesday at 8:30 Central, 9:30 Eastern. I don't usually go the other way around.
9:30 my time, which is whatever it always throws me off because Ryan always says it's 6:30 his time, but he's like in fucking he's in another country. So
yes. So but anyway, it is truly, as an outside observer, an honest opinion, it is truly the best toy collecting, toy anxiety focused show, thus the name, out there. And it is a must watch for anybody that collects toys, kaiju or otherwise. It's just truly the tip top of the pyramid of awesomeness when it comes to toy collecting shows.
Thank you, Jay. And as an insider, I agree.
Yes.
So Sideshow has been doing I don't, it might even still be running. I don't know. They're doing their their Thanksgiving, Black Friday thing, buy one, get one half off. And I said, you know what? This is an opportunity that I cannot let pass by. A good old Affirm was right there to haven't even paid a cent on these things yet, which that is what I love about Affirm is that even though I know the payment is coming, the feeling of having something, even if it's only for a week before you got to pay for it and you haven't paid for it, that feels like I'm cheating the system. Yeah.
It's like a legal theft. It is legal theft.
This is not a paid ad for Affirm. Affirm does not sponsor this show. But if you're ever watching these toy shows and you're like, wow, must be nice. How do these guys get all these big, expensive? It's things like Affirm. It's Affirm. Yeah. Anyway, I bought one, got one half off. I got the Star Ace Rhedosaurus.
Look at that. Look at that.
This beautiful box here. But I have opened him. So
nice.
Got him right here.
Look at that. Holy cow.
This thing is amazing, Jim.
Yeah.
The sculpt is so great. And I only do deluxe figures. So I did get a base with him. Now the base is the car, and it's got this little Harryhausen 100 on it. Very cool. He kind of stands perfectly with his hand right, or maybe it's this one, his hand right on the car when he stands up. But dude, this is a classic. Yeah. My grandfather kind of got me into horror movies and monster movies. I spent a lot of time with my grandparents when I was little, and my grandfather would just always tape movies for me. Like every weekend, we would just sit around and watch horror movies. And all these old Ray Harryhausen movies, I only know what they are because of him. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like we would watch them all the time. So getting into this Harryhausen collection is like it's a new thing as far as toy collecting, but it feels weird because it's like I feel like I'm, it's like I feel like I'm paying honor to my grandfather by buying fucking weird Harryhausen toys. But this one specifically is such a good sculpt, and I love how bumpy he is. I've always loved the Rhedosaurus. He's great.
No, and I love that. That's something unique that toys and collectibles can do, is give you that window back into the past for a happy moment, a moment like that. So that's really cool. And it's neat that like we've kind of seen like the start of your Harryhausen collection, at least like from an X Plus standpoint, like these big, giant toys on the show. And like, I'm very excited to see when we talk in a year, like how many more that you have, I know there's going to be some space danger because those things are gigantic.
There already is. And I'm already in here, trying to figure out, I got the Kraken. You can't really see, but the Kraken is up here on top of my Kaiju shelf. This is like all Godzilla stuff here. And the Kraken's in the middle of it, but these guys are not going to fit up there. So I think what I've decided to do is like take the Harryhausen stuff away from the Kaiju shelf. And I think I'm going to take the Kraken, the Rhedosaurus, and the one I'm about to show off. And I think I'm going to maybe put them, I got some room up here on the top of these shelves for them, but they're kind of like figures I wish I could display in the living room. They're like pieces you want someone to walk in and be like, what is that?
Museum quality.
Yeah. And I mean, there is, you sent me, I can't remember who it was, but somebody was selling the Guanji the other day.
Yeah, I think it was our buddy AJ Russo at Kaiju Live.
Was it AJ?
Yeah.
And that's a sold out toy, and it's the one that I want the most, but I just, it's Christmas time.
Yeah.
I could not jump on it.
Yeah.
And unless AJ takes a firm.
I don't know
if you take a firm,
you buy two.
I'll take Guanji.
Everybody for Christmas and the holidays that you guys celebrate gets a Guanji from Jake. That's the present for everybody. Hey, honestly, by you showing off that figure, and I've heard the people that got it when it first came out, like I don't know if any of the other X Plus got as much like figure of the year buzz as that one did. It was obviously an amazing piece, but it made me want to go back and watch our show. We talked about the Beast from 20,000 Fathoms. So you guys go out there, watch that episode. It's only a few months back, and it was great. It was so fun. What a great movie.
Yeah, it's a great movie. And I think just as good as a movie as The Beast from 20,000 Fathoms is 20 million miles from the sun. Why is it got why is there so many twos? But Ymir. I got Ymir.
Yeah.
This guy is weird, and a lot of people were mentioning last night on Toy Anxiety that he looks like the Kraken, and I'm like, well, that was Harryhausen's thing. He put these jowls on everything, and someone else was like, whoa, that looks a lot like the Boba Fett sand monster, and I'm like, yeah, that monster in Boba Fett was based on Ymir. He's identical except for he had like another set of arms, but this is the Ymir figure. He's got this weird tail. Now, Jay, the thing that I didn't know about this toy when I bought it is that the mouth moves. Do you know this? Do you know there was articulation?
What? No, I had no idea.
Well, then you probably
That's
also
amazing.
Then you probably also didn't know that his jaw is magnet. You could take his jaw off, and there's poles in here to change the positions of his eyeballs. You can
what?
Yeah, look. See his eyes moving?
That is amazing.
Yeah, there's two little rods. There's a rod attached to each eye, and you can move the rod and change what he's looking at.
That's insane.
And then just the mouth just magnetizes right back on. And then he came with this like little light pole situation that he kind of can hold on to. So he's got he's got the light pole, and then he also came with a human being in the nope position where he's just crawling away from. He's just like crawling. He's like laying like this to crawl away from the danger. These are awesome. I love these. X Plus, Star Ace. That's all I want from the rest of my life.
I love it, man. Those are amazing pickups. I mean, that is, I mean, you could realistically stop now and have an awesome Harryhausen collection.
Yeah.
How awesome the pieces are.
Yeah.
I think since we've done Beast from 20,000 Fathoms. I almost said Beast from 20 Million Miles, but the Beast from 20,000 Fathoms and 20 Million Miles to Earth. Like, we should do that one as a movie, because like I think that I haven't seen that movie in a while.
You know, I watched it fairly recently. I watched it not too long ago, and I love that movie because it's one of the movies where the creature is the creature actually doesn't pose any harm to humans. It doesn't. They go out of their way to show that it eats like vegetables.
Yeah,
and every instance of it like attacking is the person's fault. You know, and that's a cool. I like that. So that's a good movie.
That's a great.
We'll do it. We'll do it for a classic episode.
I mean, I know. I'm worried if we do, like, we're gonna have to like do our next spinoff, which is a Harryhausen podcast.
We might be able to.
I know.
Limited run, limited series.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, summer. Like, we'll do it for summer.
I don't have the time. I know. So
yeah. What day would you be able to podcast on? Like Mondays at like 3 a.m.
It would have to be. It would have to be every third week. Like, this is every 2 weeks. That would be every third week.
Or we could just like for this summer, YHS on Monster Island turns into the Harryhausen hour. You know,
it's called YHS on Monster Island. Those are monsters. It works.
Agreed. I love it, dude. Well, that's awesome. I don't have anything that can rival that from a scale perspective and a detail perspective, but I got a couple really cool pieces, including one piece that I've been trying to get for a long time. Okay. And I was able to get it at.
I feel like you have one of those every week.
Yeah, I try not to because they're usually expensive. This one I got for a good deal, but it was really hard. It's a hard one to find. Yeah. I'm gonna open up with that one, and then I got some more Bio-Gojis.
Okay.
Because, you know, we always have those, but people know, like, when it comes to the main Sofubi lines, I love Marmot because I think some of their colorways are amazing. Like, some of my favorite pieces are Marmot. The Varan piece I love. The Batra I love. One of them that I absolutely love from the Monster Heaven line, which most of the ones I like are from the Monster Heaven line, is the Gorosaurus. And I love the sculpt. Sculpt's great, but the color, it's that metallic, that bright, like, blue. It's not metallic, but like just so like it pops, right?
Yeah.
And I was able to get him, and it's my favorite Gorosaurus that I own, maybe with the exception of the Princess Street variant for a Marasan. But look at this guy. Here he comes. Look at this. Absolutely love this piece.
Look at those colors.
Yeah. I mean, this is like I said, for some reason, like, I don't think Marmot always does the best sculpts, and they don't do, obviously Marasan does like the best gimmicks, right? Like, if I want glitter or translucent, I think Marasan nails that.
Sure.
I think M1 might be my favorite when you kind of add everything together. And I think they're the steadiest, and their sculpts are so fun and just so like quintessential Sofubi. But Marmot, from a colorway standpoint, is just absolutely one of my favorites. And I'm not, I get we have like the Pilot Aces and the Toy Graphs and the Saru Jirishis, but I'm saying of the main guys in that world, I think Marmot's colorways, and this is one of those that I just absolutely adore this. I think this pops on any shelf. Yeah. It's bright, bold, crazy colors. And I actually love this sculpt of Gorosaurus. I think it's way better than the classic Marasan one, though. There's charm in that one. And I just love him. Look, he's just frowning. He looks like he's like going, blah. I love it. He's amazing.
He is.
He's like,
Jay, I think this is one of those figures that proves the thing that I think we've both been saying since we started this show about Sofubi. And the best thing about Sofubi is that a good Sofubi of a character can make you want a figure of a creature you hate, or a creature, or I don't necessarily have hate for Gorosaurus.
Yeah,
but
indifference.
I would never, ever on purpose buy a Gorosaurus toy, especially if like, maybe if I went into a place and that was the only kaiju they had and I just had money and I was like, I guess I'm going to buy this Gorosaurus.
Oh, I'm sending you a Gorosaurus toy tonight. I got to find one.
But this is what I'm saying though. Yeah. But when if I walked into a store and I saw that one, I'd be like, oh, now I want this. I have toys in my collection where I'm like, I don't give a fuck. But then I'm like, oh, now I do. Now I want it. And that's what's so cool about Sofubi.
Yeah, look at that. Look, he's just frowning, just angry.
Now I love him now.
Yeah, he's not mad. He's just like, he's just always in a bad mood.
Well,
yeah,
honestly, he reminds me of me. He's got to get up in the morning. He's probably got to take a shit. His leg hurts. He's got to fucking go to work, and he's gonna have to listen to music that he doesn't want to listen to.
He knows that a firm payment's coming tomorrow.
Exactly. He knows UPS is getting delayed. I get it. I understand. I love him now.
Oh yeah. So the other things I got were for some new bio gojis to I don't want to say to round out the collection, but to get near the end of the collection. And so I got the last two of it was a series of 8. They did the unpainted and they did a slightly less unpainted version. So I got the black and the orange finally of the slightly less painted. So there's a little bit of highlight and texture in there. I actually like this guy. It's black, but it has some silver highlights in there. Mm-hmm. It actually reminds me of Toy Graph and how with their 64, they do that goth version, which is very black and silver. I kind of like that. It kind of, Mara-san here kind of brings a little bit of homage to that great figure on this one. That's cool. And the other one is the orange unpainted that has a little bit of kind of a gold spray on it. Yeah.
Oh, gold. Okay.
Yeah. It's very like muted gold. Like it's not shiny at all. But just to touch it, just enough to be like, this is enough that I know Jay will go out and buy it. That's what they're thinking. I know
they have a chart of all the ones you own. Yeah.
And they're like, what's the least we can do, but still make it different enough for Jay? They know that they know I don't jump on eye variants, so they're like, you know what, we can stop with that. But just a little bit of color here. Yes, we'll get that idiot to buy it. The other two are like the most basic of basic, but you gotta have them. And how about this guy? They do translucent really well. How about entirely translucent? This is just an entirely translucent 89.
Wow.
Look at that. I love it.
That's like unique. It's like, of course, you need that one.
Well, I mean, you think of all the great ones that they've done using this translucent, but either adding glitter or painting on top of it, from kind of the Shinji Nishikawa exhibit exclusive all the way to all the glitters that they've done. This is kind of the base. So this is like kind of the Bio Goji Prime.
Now, since he's clear, I just had an idea that might be gross, but also very exclusive. If you take a clear Bio Goji and maybe fill him halfway up with like your blood or something, then it is a Bio Goji.
I love it. And then we'd be like family.
Yeah,
we'll be blood relatives. I love it. That's a lot of blood, though.
It would be a lot, yeah.
I'm gonna have to do it over time.
There's way more blood in you, though, so you'll be okay.
That's true. Can I go to I can see it now. Me walking into the blood bank. Okay, here you go. Sit there and go. Oh, I brought my own.
No. They have it up. They have it up on the bag, and then they look over, and all of a sudden it's attached to a Godzilla, and they're like, "Sir, what are you doing?" And you're like, it's fine."
Go watch our podcast or listen to our podcast. You'll understand. But yes, I could just totally see that me there with the bag, with the sticking in there. Oh, amazing. Oh, yes. And then the second to last is another blank base version, but it's the glow in the dark. So also 10, 15 of them are glow in the dark.
Yeah.
So this is the base here. Huge. I love these that are unpainted. I wish I was a talented customizer. I could do really cool stuff with it. But those are cool. But the next one I got shoots up all the way to the top of my favorite Bio Gojis from Mara-san. And it is the one we teased maybe a show or two ago when they released it. But look at this guy. Here he is, glow in the dark, the black and purple in person. One of my favorites of all the 49 that I now own.
Same.
This is amazing.
Yeah, that's a beautiful toy. It's that purple, man. That purple against that black. That's a beautiful toy. That's one of the favorites that I've seen.
I really want them to do, if you go back and you look, they've done some purple sparkle, but other than that, like there hasn't been a ton done with purple. Like, could you imagine this in a black and purple marble or a black, like they could do some really cool, or the double cast. I think this.
I like the way the double casts look.
Me too. I think this purple with this just kind of bright, metallic purple could look really good in some other executions. But so that's it. So 5 Bio Gojis and a Marmot Gorosaurus. I say that's a healthy week of pickups.
Good.
Because I like I said, one of my favorite Bio Gojis, and then a piece that I've been looking for like literally years in that Marmot Gorosaurus. So super pumped.
Yeah, good stuff, man.
Yeah.
Love it.
So I know we got some news, and we can stay on the toy front, and then we can do a little DesignerCon and Mysterians.
Sure, you got some screenshots for the news stuff. It's mostly there we go.
There we go. So there's 5 or 6, and it's mostly just some toy stuff. I mean, the biggest news I think in the world of Tokusatsu and Kaiju, we talked about, the Shin Ultraman dates, but so it's mostly just some cool things that came out that I thought were fun. And I think this was, we'd seen this, we'd seen the pictures, but the official photographs and photography of the Mezco Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla 74 box set, I guess, which has three kaiju in it with Godzilla, Mechagodzilla, and King Caesar. So I know we talked about it briefly, but I couldn't remember. Were you pretty amped up about this one, or was this one that was like, eh?
So my thing is I've lost a little bit of steam with Mezco, and not because I don't like the stuff. It's just because I had to cancel my Mothra. I didn't buy the Hedera set. And I still want to pick up the Mothra set.
Yeah.
A flocked Mothra. That's not that. I'm going to pick that up at some point.
Yeah.
But I love that the Mechagodzilla has I love the finger rockets that he's coming with. And I don't know, man, like, I really love these Mezco toys because I know I would prefer a bigger figure, but the price points are not bad. And their sculpts are really nice. They're really charming. They look pretty spot on. And I think their next set is going to be a Megalon set.
Yeah.
It's got to be, right? Megalon or Gigan is going to be coming, like, they're zipping through, the Showa films. I think there's no way that they're not going to be put. I know I'm getting ahead of the news here, but that's got to be next, right?
Yeah, you would think it would be at least in the consideration set, and I agree. I think that you're going to be able to build a pretty good Godzilla Showa world. The world building with these toys is pretty awesome because you're going to get everybody. I mean, look what they did with the Destroy All Monsters set. Got most of the monsters from that show in there. And I agree with you. I think these, like the Destroyer Monsters, like the Mothra, like the Hedera set, which I have them over there, they are well done. They're at a very reasonable price point. They give you some cool accessories. They're not deep cut. We're not getting Skeleturtle, but they are figures that you can't just. Well, so you can't just walk into a store and get them, but you can go into Targets now and get like Gorosauruses and stuff. So who knows? Maybe, but for the most part, like it's figures of kaiju that maybe aren't in wave one of when a lot of a company's plans, right? So I think this is kind of cool, and that's all good things to be said about Mezco. Yeah, but I'm done. I don't think I'm going to open mine. I think I come to the point. I came, and it's nothing to do. It's not you, Mezco. It's me. I just ran out of room.
There's no room. Yeah,
and I hope these are doing successful. And in my head, I'm like, they're going to have dozens and dozens of great figures. And I'm going to run into the same problem then that I am now. So I just want to nip it in the bud. And I just don't have anywhere to display them. And I'm redoing.
You can't buy everything. That's the problem. You can't buy especially when it comes down to Godzilla. And I think that's why I think with Mezco going forward, I will pick I probably won't pick this setup, even though I really love that Space Godzilla. I'm probably not going to pick up the Hedera set. I do want to get Mothra, and if they do Megalon, I'll get Megalon or whatever that set tends to be. If they do a set of Godzilla, Jet, Megalon, Gigan, I'll get that. But I'm probably not going to pick this setup.
Yeah. And that's fair. And I think that's, and honestly, if I had a little bit of room, I might go with that same approach, but I've had almost half of my collection is on the ground right now over here. It's very stressful because I'm trying to rearrange and move some things around to get a couple more shelves for some things I have coming in. Yeah. And I don't know what's going to happen. At some point, something has to go.
If they put out if instead of these three, it's very cool that they did King Caesar because you don't see a whole lot of him. But if instead of these three, if they put out a fake Godzilla, Mechagodzilla with the suit kind of coming apart, and then a Mechagodzilla, I maybe would have bought that because I think the the whole Mechagodzilla in disguise that's a very cool thing, and there's not a ton of those out there. There are some, but those tend to be more expensive and be harder to get a hold of, like this toy graph I'm trying to get. But who was it? Somebody put out a set of like fake Godzilla to Mechagodzilla not that long ago, and
was it Bandai Premium?
It might have been Bandai Premium. Yeah, that's a nice little set.
Yeah. But, agreed. So I like I said, nothing against Mezco, but like I know I can remember the day that I ordered those Destroy All Monsters. I think we were exchanging messages back and forth. I think you were at a theme park, right?
I was at Universal Studios.
Yeah. I remember you're like, I think you should. Hey, they're out. These are out. These are out. And so I like scrambled to buy them, and then kind of the same thing with the Flock Mothra, and then maybe a little less enthusiasm with the Hedorah, and a little kept on going. And I got to the point where like and I asked myself, if that Destroy All Monsters set, the first entry, came out today, would I pre-order it? And my answer was no. And so that was kind of my decision.
I feel sort of the same way, but also I'm going to keep saying this until the day I buy it. I still really want their big Heisei Godzilla. Yeah. It's beautiful. The big one's like $250. That's a beautiful toy.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, what's next, Jay? What we got?
Yeah. So the next thing we got, I'll just go a little rapid fire. There's no commentary to be had on these other than I just thought they were cool and want everybody to see. And I think if you don't know that these are coming out, maybe somebody's listening or watching this, I guess, and like, oh, wow, I really wanted that. So everybody knows I'm a huge Ultra 7 fan. So they did, for the 55th anniversary, they did release, they being X Plus, a new 25 centimeter version of him in this awesome packaging with the cool stand with the anniversary stamp on it, light up eyes. I absolutely adore this sculpt. It's a re-release from 2015, but it's so cool. And he's in that classic pose. And this will be exclusive to the Subaraya store. So very, very cool. I love me some Ultra 7. And I thought this was a cool one to share for those fellow Ultra 7 fans.
Yeah, it's a cool, all the Ultra 7, all this stuff they all look cool no matter what it is, but this is great.
Yeah, and so staying off Ultra 7, we'll go to one of his most infamous or famous or whatever kaiju that he battles on his enemies, an Ella King. So this was a Graveyard Gallery Bullmark collab for this blue glow-in-the-dark Ella King, and they've done a couple of these, and there is just something about this sculpt. And I always thought U.S.
Looks
Toys
like he's dancing.
He does. It's amazing. It's like just like, hey, I always thought U.S. Toys had my favorite Ella King sculpt, one of their larger, their 5.5-inch sculpts, because it's beautiful. This might be my favorite sculpt of Ella King. I love it. I love these colors too. The glow in the dark gimmick is great, but to me, I love this blue. And I think I'm going to pick this one up if I see it at a pretty good price. This is a really cool stuff.
How tall did you say this was?
This one, I don't know off the top of my head.
Because like looking at it, it looks a lot like, I know you just said, who did you just say you thought
the U.S. Toys?
It sort of looks like a U.S. Toys type thing, but I mean, I guess it's hard to tell.
Yeah, and the U.S. Toys, I know they're Ella King. Yeah, they've done. Yeah, U.S. Toys has done their classic like 3-inch, 2.5-inch one, and they also did a larger one, was like a 5 or 6-inch one. This one, I don't know. I'll have to look it up, but I want to say it's a little bit bigger, but I could be wrong.
It's cool.
I'll have to get back to you on that one. Yeah, it's very cool.
I'm sure it's like 5-inch or something.
Yeah. This is one for you, man. Harryhausen, talk about one that he obviously with Willis O'Brien, one of his first that he was the apprentice on was Mighty Joe Young. And we did tease this when it was the unpainted sculpt, the prototype, but here it is painted with some of the production photography. Hey man, this one's pretty cool too.
it really is. I think the look of Mighty Joe Young, that face is very, very well done. As far as like movie apes go, his proportions, but specifically his face is very, very good. The fact that you get 3 lions and the cart with this is pretty insane. I think it's beautiful, but I'm also just a little confused as why they're not just doing King Kong or Son of Kong, because Harryhausen did those too, and those are very popular. And I think the Son of Kong would be awesome because he's albino. I think that would be cool. But like also, I want a King Kong. I want just like have they done a King Kong? It feels like a weird choice to go with Mighty Joe Young. That seems like third down the pole if you're going to pick one of the apes. But that being said, this is beautiful. It's a beautiful toy.
Yeah.
Like this looks like it needs to be behind a glass case at all times.
Yeah.
It's a little sad. It's like I saw it and I was like, oh, this looks great. But also, like, do I want Mighty Joe Young killing 3 lions in my house? Yeah. Kind of. But it's great. This looks very good. This line continues to just be amazing.
Yeah. And that's a great question. I mean, obviously I'm assuming with Kong and Son of Kong, it's probably a licensing thing.
Sure.
I know that, and I don't know where Harryhausen is allowed to put his name, because I know, like, even on Mighty Joe Young, he was an apprentice, right? Like he was to Willis O'Brien. So I don't know if like he had to, like, which ones he can claim as being kind of a Harryhausen creation or whatever. I don't know the rules. And
I think King Kong is like very famously a Harryhausen. Yeah. You know what I mean? But I know legally, I guess we don't know.
Well, see, I think of original Kong as Willis O'Brien. So maybe they're, I don't know. I really don't know how they do that, but that would be interesting. And they have done, X Plus has done a Kong before. And I think I showed you these images.
You did,
back a while ago when they were doing more kind of 6-7 inch, like kind of action figure-y, like a little bit more, less, giant vinyl statue, with a lower price point. And they weren't great. I'll be honest with you. It reminds me of some of the X Plus USA stuff they did that just wasn't great. So I don't know, man.
Yeah, I don't know either, but this is great. This is great. I might end up owning this.
This might be one of those. I figured in my head for you, it's like maybe next year at the sideshow when they do the 50% off the second one.
Exactly. It's that kind of thing where I need to get a couple, and it's like, oh, I'll get this Mighty Joe Young.
Yeah, it's not quite Rhedosaurus and Ymir and Kraken, but it's not. It's probably ahead of some other ones. So
for sure,
I thought it was cool. I thought this was a great one. The next thing I have to show you, because I don't know if you have, an extra $1,600 laying around.
Is that how much this costs?
This is 60. Yeah. So this is Shigeru Arai. A lot of indie toy folks know him as Nag Toys or Nag. Very big in like the indie designer toy scene.
Yeah.
Famous artist, and him and Medicom are doing a lottery to win this. So not only do you have to win the lottery, but it cost about $1,600 US for this boy. So it's I don't know if you saw like his GMK ones with the open mouth, and it looks very similar to this.
Yeah.
Those things are going for $2, $3, $4 grand. But yeah, this, I mean, it's beautiful. I mean, it's big and it's just gnarly in the best possible use of the word gnarly.
Jay, I'm gonna be honest with you.
Yeah.
This is not for me.
What? Oh,
I don't like this toy at all. No, I don't like this at all. I don't know what it is. There's something about this weird spiky. What are these things on her back? Like, that's made up. That's a weird. I don't know. Like, this is not for me. Like, people love it. That's great.
Yeah.
I love Biollante, but this is just not one.
Yeah.
Even if this was affordable, which $1,600 seems ludicrous to me. But even if this was affordable, it'd probably be one I'd pass on. It's just not.
I'm shocked. I thought you would love this one, Howard. Just crazy.
Dude, I don't. There's a couple Biollantes. Like, sometimes you get Biollantes on your site, and I'm like, fuck yeah, I want a Biollante. Then I'll go look, and I'm like, I don't like this sculpt. I'm like, I don't know what it is, man. It's like, I want more. Biollante is my favorite kaiju of all time, but I get bummed out when I see a Safubi, and I'm like iffy about it. So
yeah. Well, hey, good. You can save yourself $1,600 on this one. But I think I love it. I think it's awesome. I would never spend $1,600 on it. But that's famous last words. I know, right? No, the cool thing I like about this is if you look at this in the context of his other art. So this would be like, how like all the Bear Brick, they take the licenses and they make them all the Bear Brick style, or Kaz does the different characters in his style. So this is all taking care, like they did with the GMK Godzilla and stuff, and they're making it like in his style, right? So this is I would say it's probably how I like to describe designer toys. People always ask me, like, how do you describe a designer toy versus just a regular vinyl toy? Like, why is this Godzilla Marasan, not a designer toy, and this other soft vinyl toy is. And to me, like, and there's
it's kind of like a fine line.
And it's also, it's like, it is kind of whatever anybody wants it to be, right? But for me personally, like my definition, or where I kind of don't call this necessarily a designer toy, is if the toys, the first thing about the toy is the artist. It's like, I want to buy a nag toy, not a Biollante toy.
Sure.
Then to me, it's a designer toy, because it's about the artist. It's about the designer, as opposed to, I want to buy a Godzilla toy. Now, there are some Sofubi that walk that fine line really well, because, you know, it's something that's done by a famous sculptor, or, you know, I think of all like the Yuji Sakai models and stuff, model kits and X Plus and stuff, like, you know, walks a fine line there. But to me, like this one, it's nag in that style is the base, and they're doing a Biollante in that style, as opposed to, hey, let's do a Biollante figure and we'll make it whatever. Once again, very subtle, very nuanced, I know, but to me, I think that's the bigger one. And I snuck one other thing in here after the $1,600 Biollante.
Okay,
wasn't on our notes, man. How about this?
I almost sent this to you, and I was like, Joe's already seen it.
Oh yeah. So cool. So Titanic Creations got the license to do a Gorgo toy. So our model kit or vinyl toy. I don't know exactly. I haven't read all the stuff on it, but just looking at this prototype or 3D rendering or whatever it is, great. I'm all for it. Good for Gorgo, man.
Love Gorgo.
Love it.
Yeah, she deserves it.
100%. I mean, I love the M1 Gorgo. I have one, but I think there needs to be more. And we need to do a Gorgo episode.
We should, yeah. I'm a fan of Gorgo, and this is a cool looking. I always thought Gorgo's design was really weird and unique, and I'm happy this is happening.
Cool. But that's all I got, man. That's all I got for news. I thought these are some really cool things. From Mezco to Star Ace to everywhere in between. Really, really, really cool stuff. But hey, if you're cool, man, let's go. Let's talk a little DesignerCon.
Yeah, that's what I've been waiting on. I want to see some pictures, Jay. I want to see some DesignerCon pictures.
Well, you know, so it was November 18th, 19th, 20th, something around there. And I don't know if we've ever had more rapid fire conversations and messages going back of they all said the same thing. This is cool. I want this. This is cool. What is this?
It was too much. DesignerCon is one of those things where, Attack Peter reached out to me and he was like, "Hey man, are you guys coming to DesignerCon?" And I was like, sadly, we're not going to make it. And then whenever I started seeing pictures, I was like, I'm glad I'm not there, man, because my budget would have been blown immediately. And then I just would have been annoyed all weekend at how much amazing stuff is here that I cannot get my hands on.
Whew. And some of the stuff isn't going to come out for a year or two, if ever. Yeah. Some of it's a one piece made.
Oh, come on, Rocom.
I know, right? That's why. And so before this show,
listen, Rocom. Let's go ahead and do it. Rocom. Okay. I don't think you have these on your list. So they put out.
There's a reason why, though.
They put out like 5 Death Jaguars that were all based on pre-existing. They did
Ultraman.
There was an Ultraman, which was beautiful. There was a Ghost Rider, which I don't give a fuck about Ghost Rider, but the Ghost Rider Death Jaguar was amazing. There was a Skeletor. There was a Luke Skywalker, which was beautiful.
It was awesome.
They only did one each of all of these. Yeah, they did one a piece, and it was gone. So, they were amazing. Rocom, if you guys are listening or this gets back to you, those are fucking beautiful toys. Cool. Continue, Jay.
So the reason I didn't put them on there is because those were actually opening up the archives. Those actually came out years ago.
Are those older toys?
They are. They opened up the archive and they gave out one of like each of these. So that's the only reason I didn't include them in this, because they were just available at DesignerCon, but they weren't necessarily, like I said, once again.
So does that mean there's more of those out there?
They probably have them in the.
Does that mean there's more Luke Skywalkers out there?
Rocom headquarters, man. We gotta invade it.
I need one of those Luke Skywalkers.
They're so cool. And you pick up an Ultraman one for me while you're there.
Yeah.
So what I did was I thought it'd be really cool to do like a top 10, like of my top 10 things, and have we talk about them. And I know there's a couple of things I know you wanted to talk about as well, but it's not necessarily top 10 toys that are available, or we got a sneak peek of, or there was just there. Like it's kind of a little bit of everything that was shown off at DesignerCon or debuted at DesignerCon. So
there was too much to hit everything. So we're just hitting just 10 of the highlights because we don't have time for that's it.
100%. And the one thing I'll note is you'll see, well, Jay, you don't have very good grammar or know how to do uppercase and lowercase. Well, I built these slides in PowerPoint, and this uses Google Slides. So you'll see some words. First off, the fonts are funky, but you'll also see like random letters capitalized and stuff. So just bear with it. You'll survive. You'll understand. So anyway, I had to do an honorable mention here as a Ghostbusters influencer, as part of the largest and most influential and most powerful Ghostbusters podcast in the world. I had to show you this amazing thing from Unbox Industries and Punk Drunkers, done in the Punk Drunker style of Slimer, Kaiju Slimer here.
Yeah.
I absolutely love this. This was awesome.
I love the Slimer one. There was a Stay Puffed as well.
Yeah, they actually released that at a like a joint.
Different?
No, it was a day or so before after they did a special movie night with like I think it was sponsored by Creature Bazaar, Unbox, Punk Drunkers, and somebody else, and that was exclusive to that event. And this one was a DesignerCon. Yeah,
the Stay Puffed, I think is out of the two. My least favorite, the Slimer's amazing. I like this one. I like his weird little legs and feet.
Yes.
He's got a hairdo. Yes. I love it. I love this toy. It's cool.
So I had to throw that one in there. Okay. This is one, and this was cool. I love this one because this is classic indie toy. This is, an unlicensed toy. This is Tony Moore. He's an artist. And I think I forgot the company that he actually shared a booth with here, but like he said, you know what, I'm going to make some crystal Space Zillas. And he did. And I thought these were awesome and unique. And we associate crystals with Space Godzilla, but let's make a Space Godzilla entirely of crystal. Bam, here you go. So I thought these were really cool and kind of a funky little piece. I totally would have picked these up if I was at DesignerCon.
I want this on a necklace. I want to wear this. It's like I want to remake shot for shot the movie Uncut Gems, but with this.
Yes.
I think any Space Godzilla is good Space Godzilla. I love this. It's weird. It's weird, and it sort of looks like candy. And I want this.
And it won't be the last Space Godzilla on this list. So number 9, this was one, hey, Mondo I think Mondo had a very, very successful DesignerCon. I really do. And one of the cool things as part of their Safubi line, their Godzilla 84, they released a few more variants there, including this Heat Ray variant, which has almost like an Aurora style to it. There's some like crystalling in there.
Translucent blue.
It is gorgeous. And their product photography is also always wonderful. They always pick the best backgrounds. But I think this might be the best variant of the 84 that they've done. And I haven't seen this one in person. But I've seen pictures.
I saw somebody selling it already on one of the one of the Facebook groups. Somebody was needing to make some money and they were trying to get rid of it. I don't want to spoil anything that might be on this further on this list, but I just do want to say about Mondo that I feel like every convention, I was at San Diego Comic-Con and there were some Godzilla reveals there that kind of blew me away. And I feel like they're doing that every 6 months now. It's like every big convention, Mondo shows up and they're like, oh, hey, you think we're done with Godzilla? Look at this shit.
Yeah.
And this and a few other things we're going to talk about. And a few things, I don't think either one of us put it on the list, but I just want to go ahead and say it, that they're coming out with a atomical Hedorah Safubi figure. Yeah. And I don't even think we put that on here, but it's like,
I didn't.
Or there's Dorats coming.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now I wish you could get just the Dorats. I would buy just the Dorats.
That was the kicker.
I don't want the big King Ghidorah, but I want the Dorats. Yeah.
Yeah, that was the kicker on that one. No, I think Mondo killed it, and they've been doing really, really well on that front. So we love Max Toy Co. here. We talk a lot about those guys. We both have toys. And I thought he also had Martin Nagata had a great DesignerCon showing, including this beautiful Garamon, which is glow in the dark, but that yellow with those blue lips, I think is awesome.
Yeah, I agree.
This one really, when you're scrolling through Instagram, and especially when you have a lot of toy companies, indie toy artist stuff on your feed, and you see toy. This is one that I would stop on and be like, "Hey, what's that? Oh, how much is that? How do I get it?"
There's something about this. What I really love is the color choices. So you got the blue lips, and then right around his eye is like a subtle dash of that purplish color, that like periwinkle, and then there's like a muted orange around his face before the yellow starts. But those colors really like bring out the shape of his face, and they bring out the like worriedness and the lines in his cheek, his cheekbone sort of. Like I look at the one I'm looking at the same sculpt right here, and I love the one I have, but it's like he's got just a flat green face kind of.
Yeah.
And this just kind of brings out all those edges and weirdness going on. And I
some real dimension to the
love
face.
These colors are perfectly picked.
Yes. Yeah. And I like I said, it was a stunner when I scrolled through Instagram and saw it, and I'm excited. Hopefully I'll be able to find this on the secondhand market somewhere, because I would love to add this one to my collection. Number 7 on the list, going back to Mondo. We talked about this one. It's Mondo. That I know it's the they did a lottery. I think they had 2 or 3 of these. Maybe they made
2 Godzillas, 5 Heteros.
Okay, there you go. Thank you. And that's why we pay you the big bucks, Jake, to give us all the correct information. But this is the 84.
It might be wrong. I don't know.
It sounded right. You said it with such conviction.
I'm right. I'm
like,
right.
Yes.
2 and 5.
So this was the Candy Bolton custom that she did. This is one of those pieces also, like you said, with the Mighty Joe Young, that like I feel it needs to be behind glass. Like this to me is like important. This is like a great piece.
To me, it felt like Mondo is taking, Mondo already, we've talked about Mondo Safubi before, where it's like, it is Safubi, but it's also like, is it Safubi? Because there's still all these other, but it's like Mondo respects it so much that they're like, you know what? We're going to do some lotteries. Like that's a big deal in Safubi world, is lotteries. And the fact that they only made 2 of these, you had to win a lottery at DCon to be able to buy 1 of 2. That to me is like true Safubi world type stuff. So I was really happy to see that. My favorite part about this Godzilla are his feet. I like how bright those feet are.
Yeah. It's like wearing some hot pink socks. I love it. It's I thought this was a stunner as well. I thought this was one that like, I mean, I don't think...
And the Hedora looked great too. I mean, the Hedora is like they were both great.
And I think the reason I chose this over the Hedora is I don't love the Hedora sculpt that Mondo's used as much as I do the 84 Godzilla here.
I like them both, but I would choose the Godzilla over the Hedora too, just because it's more exclusive. There's only 2 of these. They made more Hedoras.
But this is great, and once again, this is one of those pieces that if it's on your shelf, it doesn't matter if it's somebody that knows Godzilla or Kaiju or anything. They walk in there, they ask about it.
That's a piece of art.
Yeah, it's done. It's amazing. So kudos again to Mondo. Now, speaking of piece of art, so this is a one-off. This was the classic M1 Haru Nakajima. This was a custom paint app by John Paul Kaiser, who has done amazing work. It's done in his style. And in fact, like the only image I got was one that you sent me. It even has like the scent icon on it. So this
I still
is
had that.
Yeah. This is the only picture I could find of it that was like at least big enough to show on the slide. Most everything else was kind of in the background. This was amazing. It's a cool representation, and the tattoos, it's hard to see here in this image, but the tattoos feature, some famous kaiju as well on there, but done in his style and taking such an iconic piece of Sofubi and making it a different type of work of art. I think I probably, if I was at DCon, I think I would have stayed in front of this piece and just stared at it for an hour. It's so cool.
He had a good setup of, he had some other really nice figures too, but this one is like, this is like a show-stopping figure.
Yeah.
This is just awesome.
Yeah. And I don't know if I'm assuming he's like many, like will customize stuff and hopefully gets paid a fair amount for that. I wish this is something that would be, I don't want to say mass produced, but something that would be available. And I get, and I respect that it won't be, but like, I mean, everybody needs that.
Everybody would buy. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
This would be a big hit, I think, if it was something that was sold.
100%. So I had to throw that one in there because that was just a wow factor.
Love it.
So I love. Speaking of Max Toy Co., we go back to Mark Nagata here, and I think everybody loves what he's done with the Sofubi Man and now Sofubi Woman as well. He did debut that, and I actually picked that one up, the DesignerCon one that was the orange, kind of the glitter on it, the Sofubi Woman. But the Sofubi Man he's released many times in different variants, and this is one of the ones with the casting station as well. So to cast the soft vinyl and stuff, and so I love this one, even though he's not a kaiju. Our kaiju toys that we talked about today wouldn't exist without people like the Sofubi Man.
Yeah.
And I think this is one of those cool pieces of Sofubi that like is just so wonderful and so important to the whole genre, subgenre,
the whole culture. Yeah. It's charming.
And of all the, especially the American indie toy producers of Sofubi, I believe this is one that would be on a short list as like in the Hall of Fame. Like I think like the Sofubi Man, not this necessarily this particular release of it, but just the original Sofubi Man, because it is a big piece and it's really cool. And I thought this colorway and this with the casting station as well is such an awesome piece. I really want to try to get my hands on one of these at some point for a reasonable price because it's a cool one.
Yeah.
It's very, very cool. So number 4, top 4. It's Mondo again, and it's the Rodan. And I couldn't decide between these two. And the reason I put it so high, Jake, is because I love Rodan. He's important to the kaiju genre. He's important to Godzilla franchise. I don't know if there's a Rodan toy that I can say I absolutely love or even like a lot. I'm looking at my collection. I'm like, where is it? Like,
not many. Don't have many toys.
Not many. These I absolutely love.
These are great.
These are fun mix of Sofubi, but like almost even
and
like
it's classic Rodan.
Yeah.
It's classic. It's 65 Rodan.
Yeah, but it's done and like the head's a little bit bigger than the body. Almost has that not all like Default Real type look, but like it's like almost this could fit in line with like a Marmot pair of babies, like the vinyl pair of babies. Like I love this. I love both of these colorways. The classic one is just speaking to me. I definitely want to give this. And I love the little Mothra larva peeking over the blue one's wing there. I don't know if that's a little nod to Mothra flying on top of Rodan.
Yeah. If I'm going to pick one, it would be the blue one. I think the blue one calls to me the most. Is that Mothra there just to tease a further toy that they're going to come out with? Because I was wondering about it too. I was like, why is that Mothra there?
I just assumed it was like a nod to Ghidra, the three-headed monster, and when they tag team together like that. So and that's like a premium.
Maybe that Mothra comes with that Rodan, or maybe they just stuck it there because it's going to be a further release. With
maybe
Mothra set. Oh boy.
Either way,
it's cool. This is a good toy.
Okay, so we got to talk about this number 3, Spiral Toy. Yeah. So we all know Spiral Studios. They're giant, huge, very expensive, highly articulate, highly detailed, top of the line, premium class releases for a lot of the MonsterVerse kaiju, a lot of the other kaiju. We know people that are involved with Spiral Studios. They're amazing. I was so pumped when the news started leaking about Spiral Toy, which is an extension of Spiral Studios, and it's going to be focused more in the Sofubi world. But their twist, and I don't want to say their twist, but their kind of wrinkle that they're going to do here is a little bit like what Medicom does, where Medicom will partner with these great other toy companies, but they're going one step further and they're partnering with these great artists. So it's almost like they're a Sofubi / designer toy company. And so what they did was they said, we're going to do with Godzilla 2014, something that hasn't been Sofubiized. They're going to take it, but the artists that they're going to feature in these, only the two most important people for Marmot. Oh yeah, a little Masami Yamada and Kazumitsu Akamatsu. Like, boom, these guys are going to be the feature artists for these releases, and these are stunning. I've never wanted anything Godzilla 2014 as much as I do with these guys, but also like what heavy hitters to start with in the guys that basically gave us Marmot. And you can imagine when you go from here, like, are they going to partner with, the Eiji Kaminagas? Are they going to partner with the Yuji Nishimuras, with the Attack Peters and all? Like, the sky is the limit, and all the great independent artists that we saw, like, or that we've talked about with the DesignerCon, like, amazing. Like, I can't wait. The Spiral Toy, Mark Nagata, whatever. Like, it's so cool. And I just thought their concept, their approach, and then most importantly, these snapshots, these teases, these releases were just like one of the top releases I've seen in a long time.
Yeah. I mean, you said a mouthful, Jay. These are all. It's a beautiful sculpt. They look like they're so shiny. They look like blown glass.
They do.
These
great call.
These are beautiful. I want one of these for sure. I can't imagine what the cost is going to be on these guys, or how hard they're going to be to get a hold of. But all of them look great. All 5 of them are really, really shockingly beautiful pieces. And it's cool whenever, like, I mean, it's exactly what I was saying earlier about the Gorosaurus. It's like whenever they take a character that I love 2014 Godzilla, but you don't expect to see that in a Safubi form.
No.
And the more Godzilla 2014 toys I buy, pretty recently I kind of took some of them out of my collection to make room, because I'm like, I don't need a bunch of 2014 Godzilla, but this is great.
Yeah. So the final 2, now this one, I know, right?
Hold on. Let me talk for a second. Mondo made this for me, and I wish I would have pulled it out. I have the original. I have the large size Trendmaster Space Godzilla right in this case. I'm looking at it right here. And I've had that toy since 1990, whatever, 8 or whatever. And it's always been one of my favorite toys. Space Godzilla is one of my favorite. We've talked about it before.
Yeah.
He is maybe the second best designed kaiju in the worst movie. He's beautiful. He's lumbering. He's like such a cool concept. And the fact that I'm so glad Trendmasters is kind of receiving sort of a light. Yeah. People are like, people kind of dig the Trendmaster stuff.
100%.
I've always loved it. This is a beautiful fucking toy, and I cannot wait to get this and maybe every other Space Godzilla that Mondo puts out.
And that's the crazy thing right there, Jake, is I picked this one as number 2 because this is just unreal. Like, this is like amazing and added depth for those that were collecting the Trendmasters when they originally came out. But also the other Space Godzilla variants that they had there were equally as good. They're all so great. Awesome. They're all great. So even though he gets the nod here, like, all of them could be on this slide too, because they're wonderful. And but this was the first time I've seen the Trendmasters variant. And if it wasn't for what we're going to show off in number 1, DesignerCon to me would be defined by the sneak peek of this guy sitting at the Mondo shelves. But
and I mean, even the other, I think they had 3 Space Godzillas on display.
Yep.
They all looked great. All of the other stuff Mondo had, like, Mondo teased lots of stuff. And there is another tease I want to talk to. We'll talk to after we get off of this list. But dude, this toy is, I cannot wait. I cannot wait for this toy.
I do think Mondo won DesignerCon. I really do. At least from like in the kaiju world, right? Like, I know when you go outside of there, it's a totally different animal, but from the kaiju side. So number 1, we have a little show and tell, because not only was this the number 1, you and I both got this because there's no way we were going to not get this, because it is top shelf. It really is. It's at the top of my favorite things I own now list in my collecting world. I absolutely love it. And holy bucket. So we'll just go right to it from our friends over at Rocom Toys. Look at this X-ray version Death Jaguar. Here he is, Jake. There he is. Look at this guy. Look at this guy.
How did this happen? How did we both get this thing?
This is perfect. It's perfect. It's like, so we love Death Jaguar. We love all the sculpts. We love what Rocom Toys does. But this colorway is just otherworldly awesome. I mean, it's like, I don't even know what to say on this one. It's just perfect.
I mean, whenever they showed this off, so like they were showing all of the one-offs, and then this one popped up as their is an exclusive for the show. And I sent this to you, and I was just like, holy fuck. I've noticed it's becoming a thing. Maybe it's been around and maybe I'm just now noticing it, but to take printed paper and put it inside of a clear, there's some people who do it with Mechagodzillas, and they're always really amazing. But when I saw it with a Death Jaguar figure, I mean the iridescent sort of paint job on this guy, it's
perfect.
Blew me away. And then whenever I saw them make a post saying, hey, we're going to have leftovers, go online, I was like, what the fuck? And I was in the middle of watching something when I saw the post that these were on the site, and I bought it immediately. I sent it over to you. I said, Jay, these are for sale.
Yeah.
This is beautiful. And I brought out my other Death Jaguar, just to kind of put these. I see you got yours above you, but these two beautiful robots, like this is amazing. This is there's nothing better than these.
Yeah. I mean, you said the iridescent paint job, like that purple and that blue, are great. But the cool thing is when you look at all the details, the printed paper insides are awesome. They're cool. I mean, just the shoes are two-tone. Like the iridescent, there's one side that's the blue and one side that's the purple. In the arms, this little area right here, there's like
gold tinsel.
Yeah, gold tinsel in there. I mean, it is as perfect of a soft vinyl toy as I think there can be. Like it really, like I want to put it next to my secret base Godzilla, the one that you got me, or technically I guess Mechagodzilla in disguise. But anyway, the secret base one, because those might be my two favorite pieces that I've had recently.
Hey,
this is amazing.
I showed this off on Toy Anxiety last night, and everybody was like, what the fuck is that? Tell me right now. You know, everybody was like, what? The colors, this grabs you. This is a perfect, hey, Rocom.
Thank you.
Thank you. This is fucking awesome. This is the best thing. I'm 37 years old. This is the best thing I own.
Yep. I'm 41 years old, and other than my children, this is the best thing that lives in this roof, and my dog.
These are my children, Jay.
You win. Touche.
These are my children.
Absolutely love this. So anyway, so now moving on. I know you also wanted to talk about something else, which is really, really, really cool. And I did throw these up here as well because I know you wanted to talk about this.
Yeah, I didn't see a ton of news come out about this guy. I saw, somebody did a whole slideshow of some stuff that Mondo. There's a new. They're putting out another figure for the Hanna-Barbera Godzilla that I believe comes with Godzuki, and it has some chain. I think it's more of a figure and less of a statue. I could be wrong, but this is what caught my eye. 1954 Godzilla holding the oxygen destroyer with his tail, and he has interchangeable parts. So he that's what I believe. If you look in the little square, it says like interchangeable parts. So you have a version where he's kind of melting down, but still holding the oxygen destroyer. This is going to be a vinyl figure. Holy shit.
Battle damage. Battle damage.
This is going to be amazing. I cannot wait to see what this toy looks like. He's like kind of squatty and a little SD, and I love the way this thing looks, man.
You know what he looked like?
Super excited.
From a posture standpoint, he reminded me of those Sun Guts. Godzilla, I know this is 54, but like how the Godzilla 62 Sun Guts are like a little squattier and stuff.
Yeah.
It kind of looked like that stature. When you send this over, the first thing that I saw was in the part that has this is innards and skeleton exposed. The tail is the best part.
Yeah.
So cool.
The bone tail still holding the oxygen. I love it.
So knowing this is a James Groban piece, knowing he's obviously a legend in the toy making industry and toy design industry, I hope this isn't one of those like you can't get it type things. I really hope this is something we can get because I need this, man. I need this.
Me too. I can tell you already they're going to put out. There'll be a black and white version. There'll be some color variants.
I just want one. Just give me one.
I just want one good one, man. But this is a beautiful. This is a nice looking concept here.
And it has that like James Groman feel to it too. Like you think of like, you know, Man Thing or Mad Balls or whatever, like has a kind of that feel to it. And so
especially
yeah.
Mad Balls for sure.
Yeah.
He's a squat away from being a perfect circle.
Oh, that's a great quote. Anyway, but yeah, I'm glad you brought this up because this is definitely worth mentioning. But yeah, so DesignerCon, pretty awesome stuff, and I wish I was there, but I'm at least excited or happy that I was able to talk about all the stuff that I was, you know, fanboying out over with you, because it makes it a lot better when you can share your enjoyment with a friend and a like-minded individual.
For sure. Listen, we're an hour and 9.5 minutes into this show. It's been great. DesignerCon is so good. I feel good having talked about all of that. We're going to spend the next 10 minutes to 15 minutes, maybe, just like talking about a shitty movie. It can be 5 minutes if you want. Listen, hey, this movie kind of sucks. And I feel I want to get right into it. We're talking about the Mysterians, 1957. At the beginning of this movie, I was like, oh, this is beautiful looking. The way it starts on kind of the, that little
the space station
event that's happening in the forest or whatever. I was like, I was like, this looks cool. And like when the fire starts, the shots are beautiful. I was like, I'm in for a treat.
Yeah.
But this movie blows, man. It's like, it's kind of boring. It's got some good actors in it. And I mean, like, it does.
But they mail it in. But
I also want to say we watched the dubbed version of this.
Yeah.
Because that's what we could find. And I would rewatch this maybe years from now when I forget about it in the undubbed, just subbed version, because I'm sure there's a better movie in the sub. Jay, there is a scene in this movie. I'm going to go ahead and say, there is a scene in this movie where some Americans show up. And the American is talking to one of the Japanese generals or whatever, and he says his line, and then there's an interpreter, who says the exact line in English again, and I'm like, hey, I know since this is dubbed, there's no need for an interpreter, but you need to figure that out, because you have this man. He says a line of dialogue, and then the interpreter says the exact same line of dialogue in the same language. And then the other guy's like, oh, okay. And it's like, this is the dumbest fucking thing I've ever seen.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. And I sum up Mysterians like this. I think it does a few things well. I think you mentioned the first one. I think for the most part, it is beautifully shot. Like, I think there's some really cool scenes. Throughout. Yeah. And you're right. The opening up with at the festival or whatever. Great. I think the score is good. I think it's pretty solid. You know, it's our usual suspects here. I mean, it's Honda and Tsuburaya and Fukube. So we know the score is going to be solid. I thought that was good. And and it's so funny because, you know, we have our hatred for 94 Mogura, but Mogura here is, I think, one of the highlights of the movie, and which is insane. 100%.
He's just as bad as the 90s.
100%.
Mogura.
But I'm thinking, like, if you know they have all the stuff happens, like not the title of the earthquake, sinkhole, the forest fire, and then the monster attack.
Yeah.
And I'm like, hey, if the movie just stopped there, and then the solution was, hey, we need to bring Godzilla in to fight him. Good movie.
Right.
Good movie.
Would have been cool.
But after that piece, they beat him by blowing up a bridge.
Never see Mogura again.
No. And just the very end, and then the thing falls on his head.
Yeah.
And then, like, but from that point on, it is the most boring.
It is.
Like, nothing happens. How many times can they repeat that one scene of the planes flying in and going off into their different maneuvers? It's basically a movie about them shooting a dome in the middle of the desert or the middle of the forest or whatever.
It is a lot of just footage of that.
Of guns.
I thought the best thing about the movie were the Mysterians' outfits.
Yes,
I think they
primary colors.
I think they look really cool, and I've seen figures of them before, and have always been like,
Marathon has some.
I've seen figures of the Mysterians have been like, whoa, I need to watch this movie because these toys are cool, and I might want these, but now I don't want them anymore.
I know. Hey, save you some money. And then some of the cool, the Mogera 57 Safubis, some really cool ones out there. But yeah, I
haven't seen much of those. I'd like to see them. You put on you put on the main topic here. Where is it? Which Mogera versus Mogera? and I was watching it trying to figure out which one was the better Mogera, and I was like, oh, they're both equally as useless. They're both kind of equally ugly looking. But I do think maybe I like this original Mogera's design better than the 90s Mogera design. It's a little more charming with how simple it is.
It's retro sci-fi, like it is. Yeah. It is cool.
But it's like, but he is the most.
He would not win a lot of fights.
But he is the most he is the most unthreatening thing you could build. Like if these aliens are talking about how they can just like take control of Japan, and that's what they show up with, I would laugh at you because he is just the most dumb-looking robot. He's just a box.
Yeah. Can opener, man.
He looks like Osimo from South Park. It's just Cartman's in there.
Yes, and but that though that is all true and very fair, it's still better than the 94 version. And if we do another Showa-down spectacular, I don't think this one's getting out of the first round.
No.
But yeah, I just thought it was just they're so different. I mean, obviously one's quote unquote a bad guy, a villain, and one's not. But they're just so different, and I don't know. I don't know. I will always side with the retro sci-fi charm. So bad it's charming versus so bad it's just off-putting.
Yeah.
But equally as useless. Yeah. He doesn't have the terrible flying through space scene either.
True.
So the other thing I was like, how not only is it boring and there's lots of images and scenes of them just shooting things.
Yeah.
And like, okay, guys, like we get it. Your next plan is just to get a bigger weapon and shoot it again. And it still doesn't work. But the whole, we need to come here and take over, or excuse me, and marry your women and procreate with them. Like, is every movie about that on alien invaders in the 1950s? Like, it just feels like it's such a basic plot.
I was reading about the movie and it said that they wanted to go with more of a straight sci-fi film and a little less kaiju film. And I'm like, I guess they did that because there's barely any kaiju in it. And the plot is just a straight up, recycled plot from every other film. So I guess you succeeded in that, but at the cost of making a good movie.
Well, that's the thing. It's so crazy is, it's one of the things like, I lost a little respect for Ishiro Honda, not because of the product he put in front of us, because everybody has a bad day, but the fact that like one of the interviews before he died, he said this was his favorite film to direct.
Dude, he was.
You think he's on medicine?
He was almost dead. Yeah,
yeah.
It was like,
he's like, I'm gonna.
I don't want to make fun of him. I love him, but like, he was having a bad day, and
having a bad day. Sure,
maybe he had a funner. Maybe he had a funner time because it was a loose set and they didn't nobody cared what the fuck they were doing. But
I can see them all running around in that.
It's a weird movie, man. I would say watch it just to have that piece of history, and it is cool that like. Whether you hate Mogera or Godzilla vs. Space Godzilla or not, like it is cool that they kind of took that design and used it again. I like that, but it just happens to be a bad design.
And he also made a cameo in the Nintendo game as well. But and then so what you're saying, if I'm hearing, I just want to make sure I'm hearing you correctly. If I'm picking up what you're putting down, we probably aren't going to do an episode on its loose sequel, Battle in Outer Space, next. That's probably not an.
I don't want to. I want to save. I want to. Okay. I can't do these back to back, probably.
So the other two things I wanted to bring up here that I thought were really cool, and I thought you'd get a kick out of, because I know you love like concept designs, right, and early stuff and renderings and stuff. Did you see the image that I sent over to you about the original is to make him an organic life form, and it looked like a giant like lizard mole drill nose monster, and they made the decision to change it to show off the Mysterians like technological capability or superiority,
right?
But I love the organic Mogera designs. I would have loved to seen how that looked on screen. But I thought that would have been a cooler. I get why they didn't, but I still think that would have been a cool one to revisit down the line.
I think it's always hard to make a 4-legged creature menacing.
Yeah.
Or at least in kaiju films, it usually tends to be that way. It's like usually most kaiju that are on all fours are like, get out of here. You know, they're like, just move.
Or you think they're like your pet. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I would have loved to have seen that as well. I get what they were going for with changing him to a all robotic thing, but the fact that there's some concept art out there is really cool.
But the other thing I thought that really made me think of you, that you would love this, is that there was one of the official Toho books that came out around Space Godzilla. They made a note, a little kind of like annotation that the Mogura that was built in 94 was made from the plans of the 57 that left on the Mysterians, meaning the Mysterians is canonical at the Heisei series of Godzilla.
That's awesome.
That's so cool.
That I love. I don't care how bad the movie is. Saying like making loose connections like that to another film.
So cool.
Put that in everything. I love that.
So the highlight of the movie to me came 40 years later in a book. But yeah, so there honestly there's not I don't know if really it's just such a drab, bland, boring, drawn out, 35 minutes too long.
Yep.
Science fiction movie from the late 1950s that's shot beautifully, has great music, and has a great cast list. I mean, you have Takeshi Shimori, you have Kenji Sahara, you have Akiko Arata, but it's just none of them have any depth or character. It's just kind of blah. It's very blah. It's a sleep aid.
Yeah, that's not good. I watched it today before we recorded, and I was just like, oh boy.
I'm glad you made it through that. You're champ, dude. Yeah. I had to watch it in pieces.
You know, I was going to watch part of it at work today when I had some time, and then I just didn't end up having the time. So I just said, I'll watch it when I get home. And boy, it's just not great. It's just not fun. That's the thing. It's not fun. It's like anytime the Mysterians are on screen, they look cool, but they're annoying to listen to. And the dubbed voice for them is just like, we are from Mars and we want your women. Like that's what they sound like.
Yeah. And all the villagers are rednecks. I love all those.
Dude, the three guys in the beginning, there's these three redneck villagers who all they have is bicycles and they think they're about to put out a forest fire. Yeah. I was like, what do you guys think you're going to fucking do? You have bicycles. And they just think they're like, they get told, hey, turn around. It's a huge forest fire. They're like, no, we're going to go put this fire out. Like, that's how they talk. They're like, hey, guys, we can do it. We can put these fires out. Like, that's how they sound.
It was truly like Gabby Hayes in a John Wayne movie, bad voice. Like it was so bad. It was still bad. It's awful. Don't watch this. Actually, no, go watch it. And if you disagree with us, but if you agree with us, come join leave some notes and shoot us some tweets and stuff. And it'll be,
if you disagree and you love this movie, please, we're inviting you on the show.
Yes.
Tell us, explain yourself, explain this movie to me.
Oh, it's so bad. It's so bad. But you know what? We should cosplay as the Mysterians.
They got good costume. Yeah. That's the best thing I can say.
Giant underwear on the outside. Yes, I love
the costume. The helmets are cool.
The helmets are cool.
Yeah.
I love it, man. Well, I'm sorry I had to subject you to that. I really was.
It's okay.
I was trying to think of something we could add to the DesignerCon discussion that would be something we both haven't watched a long time.
Yeah, and it's a classic.
And it's I didn't feel it was going to open up a Pandora's box. Oh crud, we should spend a whole month or a whole series of episodes talking about this, and we didn't have to.
They can't all be Matango.
They can't all be Matango. That is correct. That is correct.
Well, yeah, I think that's it, man. I got nothing else to say about it. DesignerCon was amazing. There's lots of cool toys. I'm very excited to, as soon as we get done here, I'm going to maybe try to find some places to put these new Harryhausen figures. I think we both got some good pickups this week. This was a fun one.
And if you can, I don't care how you do it, folks, go buy the Rocom Toys.
There might be still some up there. Yeah, there's probably still some up there for sale. This is a beautiful toy. This is the easiest money I've ever spent.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I would have paid double this. Don't tell them that.
Don't say that. Don't. I don't want the next one to be double, but it was awesome. The perfect price.
Perfect price for the perfect toy at the perfect time.
Yep. All right. I think we're done.
All right, bye.
Bye.